Welcome to Sketchbook tour number 13. Hopefully not unlucky. Please. This book, I have finally started to put stickers on the cover, which if you've seen any of my other tours, you'll know I only really started the book before this, in Sketchbook 12. I'm gonna put up all the names that I can remember for everybody that made these stickers. Fingers crossed I can figure that out. As you can see, Dragon Age has gripped me by the throat for this one, and there will be a fair amount of Dragon Age content in this. I don't know whether or not to apologize for that, but considering we're coming up to the release of Veilguard right now, maybe it's fitting. Who knows? This is another one of those sketchbooks that I've been using. The last couple of books have really been these. I think I got a bulk of these books from a pound shop, and they served me pretty well, so I can't be bad to that. So let's get into it. Wow. Gone but not forgotten. There you go, my guy. You're free. You're free. Oh shit. I seem to be using this for a to-do list, and not a lot of these are checked off, so that maybe says something about my ability to follow through on things. We have some of the things I had to do for tea and coffee, which was the business that I had started the year before, making fandom coffee and tea blends. The comic that I wanted to make, which this is sort of related to, I believe. I wanted to do a couple of zines, so that's what this was for. The conventions that I was going to and selling at, and some miscellaneous things to do with the business as well. That aside, these are some self-portraits, more or less. Not the strongest opening to a sketchbook, yeah, fair, but these were for the comic that I mentioned over here. I mentioned it in the last book, and maybe the book previous to that as well. It was called What the Frap, and had basically a self-insert in it. This was around 2016, so, you know, I don't know. Not the best sketches, or even likeness to me, but somewhere to start. This is Creep. He's one of my OCs. I've drawn a femme version of him here. I don't know if there was any particular reason or rhyme to it, maybe just because it was popular to do swaps like that as an exercise at the time. But props to me at least for keeping the features pretty consistent and not falling down the Tumblr Dashcon ball pit hell of really feminizing features by making everything small and pretty. That's something. I could have probably kept his hair the same length, but nobody's perfect. This is my Inquisitor, Fenrith. I also mentioned him in the last book whenever I met him. He's a rogue elf from Dragon Age Inquisition, and these are Inquisitors that belong to other people that I was friends with on the Instagram screenshotting community. It was pretty common. I guess we would all draw each other's Inquisitors for fun. So I can't remember whose these were specifically, but they're not my character. It's just this one. And here I've graffitied my own art, lovingly. This was the idea I had for a label for a Solus themed tea. It was like a sleepy time tea, so I was researching ingredients that I could put into it that would help relax people for sleep. I should be able to show some images of what the final label looked like. I did it digitally, and the tea was a pretty successful blend. I think I also did a variation of the label for a mug, which was a good seller. So The Hobbit came out, clearly, and I love the designs for The Hobbit so much. I know those movies weren't as popular as the original Lord of the Rings movies, but I love them dearly. We actually just started rewatching them again recently. One of the people I went to university with loved drawing the Hobbits, and I loved watching them draw the Hobbits, so I think this was probably just with that in mind. Their shapes are so good. Like, look at these shapes. 10 out of 10. Beautiful. So again, this is to do with that comic I was talking about. I was just doing some exercises and different expressions. That was one of the things that really held me back from trying to do a comic, which is ridiculous because if I had just tried to do it, I would have gotten practice and I would have naturally gotten better at it. But it was very much the idea that I was always drawing characters front on, or maybe like a 3/4, very rarely from the side, and always with a neutral expression, very rarely exaggerating expressions, which you're gonna need if you're gonna do a comic. I wanted more practice at that, so I was starting to explore the idea of a character sheet, basically. And this was, I think, Doodle or Dudley, I can't remember what I ended up calling him, but that was the pet pug, and they could understand what he said because of the tie into their little superpower. There's a whole thing I talked about in the last video, so I won't go over it again. You know, it's something I still might go back to. Some really good songs over here. I don't know what that was for. Maybe I was making a playlist for somebody, but maybe 2 or 3 sketchbooks ago, I had drawn a couple of girls, not so goth, in a similar sort of style and pose, and I think I was trying to hark back to that. I was also thinking about the hairstyles from Sarah's concept art from the Dragon Age book. There are so many cool haircuts that they explored for her, and I feel like what they did was good, but there were so many cool ones in the concept art, and I just wanted to do some fun posing. I don't think I referenced anything for this. This was just off the dome, so pretty good anatomy. The hands are a little jank, but again, neutral expressions galore. These are a couple of OCs, Langdale and Severin. This pose is also off the dome. I did a digital version of it, or I cleaned it up digitally, but his legs remain so small and they just look so bad, and I don't like thinking about it. At least I was attempting to push the boat out and not just do neutral expression, neutral forward-facing poses. This guy comes up a lot too. Matthew McNulty, who played Seth in Misfits, which I was really, really into. Some AU stuff, like college AU that I did with my friend Will, where we had our Inquisitors be half-siblings and they went to college together. So I drew a jock, Cassandra, and art student, Sarah. This is Fenrith, my OC, Fen, which is Will's Inquisitor, and Solus, I guess. We were really obsessed with the concept art Solus, but I really didn't nail it here at all. Very bohemian though. So these look unhinged, but let me explain. Don't bully me. I'm sure you've seen them because I know I've seen them floating around Pinterest at the very least. I'll pop up probably the reference I was using, but people comment the expression and the character, and I draw the character with that expression. And I've actually written down the names of the people who requested them and the emoji that they sent me, which is good. So we have Liliana, Fenris, Iron Bull, and Anders. There will be pages of this, I swear. Some of the Hawk siblings. Cassandra, this is Fenrith. I was so happy when people ask me to draw my own OCs. It's such a nice little delight. Cullen, Solus, Sarah, Sten, Sarah again, Langdale, this was just for me, I think. Solus and Langdale and Severin again. They're so cute. They're so cute. I love them so much. Yeah, I mean, again, it was really just to have practice doing expression work. And I know this is extreme expressions, but that's still practice, and it's nice to see how you can exaggerate features and apply simple emojis to an actual facial structure. So I would definitely recommend it to anybody who's feeling burnt out and don't really know what to do. Just find one of those expression meme sheets and send it to your friends and draw their characters, or draw their favorite characters, or draw your favorite characters. This was from a Misfits AU, because I don't think I ever got over my fixation on Misfits. I just think it was such a good show, especially the early seasons. This is Ren, one of my OCs in a Misfits AU, looking very sad. And we're back on these again. So I've written the name of the character who requested it and the emoji they asked for, which is great. So Ariel was keeping it Loki's Inquisitor, and Fen was my friend Will's Inquisitor, and Kenora Rutherford. And then we have a Fenris as well, looking very wet-eyed. This is absolutely unhinged though. Iron Bull, another Inquisitor, and Cassandra. This is really nice, actually. I kind of like this. It actually looks like her. And then I got really into the idea of Negasonic Teenage Warhead as a Dalish elf. So you can literally see me gradually getting from her in the movie to her and what I think she would be like in the game. I might have made a Tumblr Ask blog for that specifically. I like these little textures though, doing some hatching. It looks pretty nice. Back on the requests again. I have Garrett Hawk, Dorian Pavis with the biggest tongue in the universe. I don't know what I was thinking with that. And Fenrith again, my Inquisitor. This is me. I requested it. Man, okay, so I don't know if this will mean anything to anybody watching this, but there was a character in House of Cards a million years ago who I was absolutely in love with, and my friend was absolutely in love with, and spoiler alert if anybody's ever gonna go and watch House of Cards, but he does pass away, and I sort of just refused to acknowledge that and drew him alive and happy on a farm. And this is basically evidence and nobody can refute this. And yeah, people just need to accept it. Essentially, the art has spoken. Thank you for all being on board with this. Just by listening, you've agreed that he's alive and well. Thank you. Tea infusers. So I was using shrink plastic printing these out, shrinking them down as you do, and attaching them to, I gotten a bulk order of tea infusers with chains on them, and I was shrinking these charms and attaching them manually, but they look pretty okay. I might have only made the soulless one. I don't remember the tea infusers selling super well, which is a shame. But I do like these little designs. I do like these designs very much. I might go back to them and make them as just charms or put them on Redbubble or something. But I think this iron ball is really cute. At the very least, and we have a little Hannibal and a Cassandra. And this is one of my OCs, Skip, with the biggest, wettest eyes. They're like saucers, oh my goodness. He probably came up in a past book. He was connected to a comic I was making called Junkie Diet. I said comic I was making as if I made more than 5 pages of it, but you know, aspirational maybe. I wanted to revisit his design. I don't know what is going on with this pose. I don't know if he's sitting, standing, getting up. He's doing something. I don't know. Even this like layered graphite and colored pencil is like really strange. It's not the worst thing in the world, and this chibi version is pretty okay. It might have been for a Monster of the Week session because I did end up adapting him for Monster of the Week, but yeah, I don't remember much about it. I know this looks like Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, but there's a part of me that thinks this might be a more thing where I've dressed them up as those characters, which is such a strange concept, but it just looks so much not like Tony Stark. He doesn't have round features like that, so it's entirely possible. Because I've talked about these before as well, but I made a B series of characters that had strong feelings about bees one way or the other. This was Nicolas Cage and Wicker Man and Sarah from Dragon Age. I'll maybe put these two up. There is a full series, but I've put them in other videos, so you can always go and look at those if you're interested. This was when I was making Sarah's costume. I ended up doing a cosplay of her, and I made the dress by hand. I think it's the only thing I've ever made like that, but it won me the masquerade. I won the masquerade with it, so that's the main thing. So Skip has come back again. For some reason, he's now sitting with Sebastian Warren. Not sure why. Yeah, it just looks like I was revisiting his design and trying to figure out what to do with him. It's not really much of a design, if I'm honest. This was for a tattoo that I wanted to get, which I did get on my calf. Not exactly like this. I sort of passed this and a bunch of other stuff on to my tattoo artist, Eden Shaw. I don't know where she works now, but I'll put up the tattoo and her profile on Instagram. But I wanted the rabbit from Lost that Ben uses to con Sawyer, and I also wanted there to be a reference in the posing of it to the white rabbit from The Matrix. I also wanted there to be alfalfa in it as a reference to Of Mice and Men, and I wanted there to be snapdragons in it as a reference to these flowers that my grandmother had in her garden. A lot, but Eden did the Lord's work and made it all fit together somehow. So yeah, I really love that tattoo. I have a matching sort of, or not really matching, mirrored version on my other calf of a nug from Dragon Age, with a bunch of flowers from the game in it, because I thought it was a great idea. This was a gift for the Lady Llewellyn of her Inquisitor Remy, maybe? I believe she had drawn Finrith for me, so I wanted to draw something in return. And that's it. And then Sarah, a little chibi Sarah. These, some Overwatch things. I don't know what's going on here. Interesting choice, but some girlies from Overwatch. I played Overwatch from the beta dropped and never stopped. I was playing it before I started recording this video, so however many years that's been, a loyal fan, I would say. Blizzard don't deserve me, but I am a loyal fan all the same. Speaking of, they weren't very good. My style at the time digitally was pretty jank. But I had some ideas for these, and they sold okay at cons. They were up on Redbubble for a while, but Redbubble ripped them down for copyright claims. So much as I am a loyal fan to Overwatch, they don't deserve me because they don't support me. This was me as a Pokemon trainer. I'm assuming Pokemon Go had dropped around this time, so I was just thinking about it. And because I love rats so much, I give myself some Rattata. I said that like it's a frittata. Rattata? Yeah. This arm is an interesting shape. They both are, but I also have one ear that's like massively bigger than the other. This is Zevran from Dragon Age Origins in a cute little toga dress thing. I'm not mad about it, but again, the pose is a little weird. And these are some drawings as well for friends on Instagram, just of them in cosplay or their characters. These are some more little OC drawings. I just have like a bunch of notes over here, so Victor has come up in previous books, and this is Victor once more in A Little Flower Crown. He looks younger, I would say maybe 17 or 18 here. This is Hugo, but like in an AU where he was a vampire, and I was probably quite heavily inspired by Interview with a Vampire for that. Those big sad eyes. Richard Brooke with a cat scratching the shit out of him with the biggest, reddest, saddest eyes, honestly. There's something about these angular shapes coming into the hair that I really like. It's definitely a lot more pencil work in this book and a lot less marker than the last one. These are some more OCs. This is I actually can't remember. I think this is Hazy and a transmask version of Bastion, probably to help me get through some of my own gender things at the time. I just spoke about markers and they had to turn up to make me feel silly. So I was watching Alien, clearly. These two are characters that belong to an account that I was friendly with on Instagram way back in the day, clearly 2016. They went by Hell or High Water, I think, and I'll show their stuff. I really like their style, and their character was really cool. I think this is, I could be wrong, it's been a while, but I think this is the same character, but they had a lot of different gender expressions, so they were really cool. I like the coloring. And I started to do some of my own character sheets that I was gonna do all of my OCs, and I think I did maybe 3 or 4, but skip their human form and their demonic form. You can see it's already changed a bunch since when I drew it earlier in the book. This outfit is completely inspired by something that Noel Fielding wore on an episode of the Big Fat Quiz of the Year. I was just completely obsessed with it, and it was all I wanted to think about. And you can see that it's he in the human form is even massively inspired by Noel Fielding, but you know, the man's a fashion icon. What can I say? Plug Chester. He's turned up in a few previous books too. It's an old OC from way back in the DeviantArt days. I explained before, but he had an ability where he could touch an object and see its history. So he dressed like this mostly because they were items and objects and things that he had positive memories attached to. So keeping them close made him feel safe because he has a lot of anxiety. And I have also adapted him since 2016 for the wider supernatural universe that my partner and I write together, which is more modern than this post-apocalypse thing that he was in. He's a hacker in that and very much self-isolated, but yeah, he's cool. I feel so weird talking about OCs and they keep turning up and making me talk about them. So this is Hazy. I've redone her design quite a few times and I feel like it needs to be redone again because I just sort of half-assed her, if I'm honest. The outfit design has stayed consistent, and I think I remember wanting her hair color to change a lot because I was really into Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Clementine's hair changing all the time was the reason why my hair color changed all the time. And then Scott Pilgrim came along and did the same thing, so you know, it was a cool concept, I guess, at the time. And I don't know why I did this, but for some reason I took my OC Thompson, whatever, and merged him with Fenrith, my D&D OC. I've since separated them back out again. I only did it this one time for this one sheet, as if I couldn't have more than one redhead character, whatever. I don't know why I did it. It's stupid. Look at that pose though. That's interesting proportionally. So I'm not sure why these are side by side, but if Spider Brian, Magic Brian from the Adventure Zone and the Governor from The Walking Dead. I was having a very diverse media day that day, I guess. This was for a coffee commission. Somebody had asked me to do their female shepherd from the Mass Effect series. I should be able to put up the digital version of the label or the finished product, whatever I can find, I guess. And Creep again, but for his little character sheet thing that I wanted to do for Instagram. I guess I did more than 3, but I didn't finish this one, so that's probably where it ended. I'm gonna assume that this seems October-y. I think this was for Inktober. This is Dorian wearing Iron Bull's outfit, a little costume swap. Jim and Sebastian, but maybe like a demon AU. And this is Victor as a little kid. And Victor in his 20s or so, late 20s, mid 20s. I like this magpie. That's pretty cute. And this is Shinwell in a punk costume, little punk Shinwell. I really like the textures on his hair, but the arms straight into the pockets is a choice. I don't know why I couldn't just spend some time studying hands instead of doing this. But yeah, even the little tartan ends on the jeans are pretty cute. This was my plan for Inktober. Maybe I'd done my own prompt list that year. This is what I had planned to do. I don't know how far I got. So day one, we did Witch Dorian. And I've gone so hard on these textures. I really put the most effort, I think most people do, but the most effort into the first couple of prompts for Inktober and then die off. And Iron Bull, like a greaser Iron Bull. Don't ask me how you got the t-shirt on. Day 3 was Soulless. I don't know if it was what the prompts were. Oh, just modern. Collect. So the first one was Fast, and then Noisy, Collect, and then Hungry. So this is Shinwell and Bastian in a punk AU again with a bunch of junk food and snacks. I think he's holding like an ice pack to his head, so they must have just been in a fight. This is a ukulele design, quote unquote, that my friend Mark put in my sketchbook at a con. He wanted to make a Star Trek themed ukulele. I had been at the con dressed as Marceline and had made a ukulele that looked like her guitar, her bass guitar. So he was pretty impressed by it. He is a really good ukulele player. He was I think he organized the ukulele meetup at the Sunflower in Belfast, or was one of the people who went to it staunchly at the very least. I can't remember, but I know he was in like an episode of Come Dine With Me on Channel 4 playing ukulele. I know he was hired for the night to play ukulele for somebody's dinner party. Is this for October as well? Beaten Up Sad, May, Zarya and Genji from Overwatch. Zarya fiercely protecting her little winter girlfriend against Genji. This is an interesting perspective, at least. And I don't think I was using any pose references because that would be a very specific pose reference to try and find. So, I mean, that's not bad. At least I'm not putting everybody's hands in their pockets. I'm actually trying to do something. Hidden was the word, and Fairy Tale Recast was the prompt. So I did Dorian as Rapunzel and Iron Bull as her Prince Charming. The expression's pretty good on Dorian, but I never get Iron Bull's face right, which is funny.
I just can't get my nose right.
The next day was Fairy Tale Recast again, but the word was lost, so I did Lost Voice and did Molly and Jim as Ursula and the Little Mermaid. And then this one was Pet/owner Punk Sebastian Rock, so that's a funny joke, probably. Do you know what though? Like, I really enjoy drawing birds, and I don't really acknowledge it or do it that often, but every time I do, I always have such a good time. And I know this cockatoo isn't the most visually accurate cockatoo that you're ever gonna see, but I don't know, it still looks pretty damn good to me. Pet/owner Elliot Alderson Broken, and yeah, so Elliot from Mr. Robot, and I've given him a Chihuahua because I think he looks like a Chihuahua a little bit. He did have a different dog in the show that he took from some guy. I don't think it was a Chihuahua though. I haven't seen that in a long time. Winston, the word was jump, so I thought about Winston from Overwatch and give him a little cat. Should have probably given him a hamster, but hey ho. Pet/owner again with Newt and a kaiju. The prompt was transport, so he's pointing off to be escorted somewhere, I guess. Man, I miss Pacific Rim so much. I rewatched it recently. I just could never get enough of it. Del Toro has my heart. Cute Jazz. Worried. So this was part of an RP that I had had with Nat a million, billion, trillion years ago, where it was the silliest thing we ever did, but we had them in these stupid onesies. And I've drawn them so many times in these onesies just because of that. But I just thought it was so adorable. Sherlock and Dragon Age, Scared, so Sebastian, Jim, Sherlock and John. Oh man, this feels mean to the actors because how is this John in any sense of the word? It's like I started here and as I moved across, I just lost energy. This is a necromancer, Jim, archer, Sebastian, of course. This was another mage situation with Sherlock, and a warrior, John. Bless him. That's so bad. And this was just a colored version of the piece that I did with Solus. I wanted to put marker on it, but I was afraid of ruining the line art, so I just scanned it and printed it, and yeah. Relax. More, Brooke. Jim and Sebastian, Rin and Richard Brooke asleep on the train, most of them, after a long day of something. It's another group shot from one of those redraw memes, draw the squad blanks that you get online with Cassandra, Dorian, Cole, Iron Bull, Sarah, and Fenrith under the umbrellas, Iron Bull's horns. Very practical. The expressions are pretty good though, and a similar sort of thing, but with the girls at the time from Overwatch. So Zarya, Symmetra, Tracer, Meh, and Diva playing, we call it swing ball or something. And these were those, you know, that haunted house thing where it would take your photograph near the end and people had these hilarious reactions. I've always wanted to go on it just to see what it is, but I did Bastian, Shinwell, and Victor for that one, and Castiel, Gabriel, Chuck, and Lucifer maybe from Supernatural for this. Bull and Dorian, Hanzo, Cassidy, and Lucia, Sarah and Dagna from Dragon Age, Mercy and Tracer from Overwatch, and this is Scape again, my little incubus OC. I don't know what he's looking at his hands for, maybe he's just high. This was Hades and Persephone AU with Jim and Sebastian. I swear I'll give it the obsession eventually. And then this is dated 2015, even though I think most of these are 2016, so it's possible that I did that thing where I just flipped to a random page in a sketchbook to draw this, you know, when you would just open a book wherever. But it's supposed to be Effie Trinket from the Hunger Games. I put all of this effort into the butterflies and the inks looked so crisp, and when I went to use the markers they bled so badly. She looks like a clown. I was so upset about it. I was just completely betrayed by the pro markers. I think I had layered her lips a couple of times and then I'm going to go for a detailed lip line, and it didn't wait for the rest of the markers to dry first and they just went. So it's upsetting. I was probably harking back to the last sketchbook where I was doing these marker drawings every day. I loved them so much. I thought they came out really cool and I wanted to do something like that. So I did this and meh. Some more badges, some more Overwatch badge designs like I mentioned earlier. I wanted to round out the set, but again, I didn't make any of these. I think I redrew this one to make it digital, but I never did. And yeah, there's some more on this side as well because they kept expanding the cast. This was another Jim and Sebastian Halloween costume with Sebastian as Scar and Jim as Cruella de Vil, the Minotaur, Iron Bull. Dorian is the person with the string. I've forgotten my lore, I'm so sorry. These were me at the time. I just shaved my head. Might have been the first time I shaped it, but I got these cute little pug leggings and this pug Christmas jumper that my mom had gotten me, and these little pug socks, and I just wanted to draw myself in them. I'm not sure who this was, but this is obviously Carl from The Walking Dead. I must have been watching the first series again because I'm Michonne as well. A girl and a cat. This was a little comic that I did based around the concept of what would happen if a dog had caught the foci at the Temple of Secret Ashes at the start of Inquisition and had become the Inquisitor and could close rifts by wagging his tail. I called him the Inquisidog. He was very cute. And he had the little emblem as his collar and would fall asleep on Iron Bull. I mean, this is the perfect story. They should just change all of Dragon Age to be this. He's such a good boy. My soulless Mancer, Ashian, who I met, was maybe my third or fourth playthrough of Dragon Age, and her brother Remy. I drew them again recently actually because she's one of the characters that I'm going to use for Veilguard along with Fenrith. They're going to be my two main Inquisitors for it because Fenrith romanced the Iron Bull. My first playthrough I romanced Dorian. Oh, my voice. My first playthrough I romanced Dorian, my second I romanced the Iron Bull, third was Solus, and then I just made a character for each. My most recent one was Aiden, who I romanced Blackwall with. I had to do it on PC because for some reason they thought Blackwall was straight, which is wrong, but you know. So these are more of these expression meme things. These are all BBC Sherlock, basically. Various things, but it's the expressions more than anything. Miraculous Ladybug and Marceline and Princess Bubblegum. And this is, again, more Sherlock stuff. Solus and Dorian, more Sherlock stuff. And they just requested the same poses. Fenris, Cassandra, Josephine, and Solus. He's so cute. Iron Bull, Solus again, and Creme. They are adorable. I actually really like these. And Alistair, Cullen, and I think this is somebody's Lavellen. It would be Kenora again, I guess. Blank. Pretend it's blank. Could be blank. that was it. We did it. So, please don't fall. I have... We're getting there, kids. I have one more book left after this. And then I do have a book that I found from when I was 14 or 15. That was an old project book from my GCSEs. I don't know if it's worth showing, but it exists. And then I will be on to some original content. But yeah, I have a book that I am currently working on for October. I'm doing Endicott's Tea Party, as I mentioned in the last video, so I hopefully will be able to make a video about that if people want to see my more recent stuff, because obviously 2015 to 16, this was, what, 8 years ago? I would like to think that my art has changed somewhat, but after the next book, I don't really do sketchbooks again. Yeah, it's been a doozy getting back into that. But listen, thank you so much for watching. If you've gotten to the end, you're literally my hero. I would love to hear what your favorite parts of the book were, and if you have any ideas for content that you'd like to see, let me know. I need them. And yeah, please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, and until then, I will see you next week for more sketchbookings. Thank you. Take care. Have a good week. Enjoy your existence. Play Overwatch. Watch some spooky movies. Think about Dragon Age.